Does Buddhism reject God? What Buddhists really believe about divinity. Understanding the Buddhist perspective on divinity is essential for those exploring spirituality in a world marked by diverse beliefs and traditions. Unlike many religious systems that center on the worship of a supreme being, Buddhism takes a different approach, focusing on practical paths to liberation and inner transformation. This unique orientation shifts attention from theological debates to the direct experience of suffering and the means to overcome it. Buddhism encompasses a rich tapestry of traditions and interpretations, each shaped by cultural and historical contexts. While some may perceive it as non-theistic or even atheistic, its teachings do not necessarily reject divinity, but rather redefine its significance. The Dharma emphasizes wisdom, mindfulness, and ethical living over speculative metaphysical questions, offering insights that transcend traditional concepts of God. By examining Buddhist teachings with care and clarity, we can uncover profound lessons about interdependence, causality, and self-reliance. These principles guide practitioners toward liberation, making Buddhism a deeply relevant and transformative spiritual path for seekers of all backgrounds. Understanding God in Buddhism and other religions. To grasp Buddhism's perspective on God, it is necessary to first consider what is meant by God. In Western theological traditions, God is often described as an omnipotent creator, eternal, and unchanging. This God is not only the origin of the universe, but also its ultimate judge, possessing qualities such as infinite mercy, justice, and love. In many Abrahamic religions, worship of God is central, with faith and devotion being primary paths to salvation. Buddhism, however, approaches the concept of divinity from a fundamentally different lens. It does not posit a creator deity, nor does it demand belief in one. The Buddha himself reframed discussions on divinity by emphasizing liberation from suffering rather than adherence to theological constructs. For Buddhists, the ultimate goal is not union with God, but the realization of nirvana, a state of ultimate freedom beyond birth and death. The Buddhist path does not explicitly deny the existence of gods or divine beings, but shifts the focus away from their worship. In one notable teaching, the Buddha explained, "I teach only two things, suffering and the cessation of suffering." This statement underscores the pragmatic and experiential orientation of his teachings, leaving little room for speculative debates about a supreme deity. This approach does not imply that Buddhism disregards spiritual awe or denies the presence of higher realities. Instead, it recognizes that such concerns often distract from the core issue at hand, the human condition of suffering and the means to transcend it. The Buddha illustrated this through his teachings on dukkha, suffering, anicca, impermanence, and anatta, non-self, emphasizing that liberation arises from understanding these realities, not from reliance on external divine intervention. Buddhism's reframing of divinity can also be seen in its focus on self-reliance. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha encourages practitioners to be a lamp unto yourself. This teaching reflects the idea that ultimate truth and liberation lie within one's own effort and insight, not in submission to an external deity. The irrelevance of the God question in Buddhist practice does not mean that the tradition dismisses the role of faith. Faith in Buddhism is directed toward the teachings, Dharma, the community of practitioners, Sangha, and the Buddha himself as a guide, not as a divine figure. This faith is not blind, but informed by personal experience and understanding, forming a foundation for deeper inquiry and practice. By focusing on liberation rather than worship, Buddhism presents a refreshing alternative to theistic paradigms. Its teachings invite practitioners to examine their own minds, to see clearly the causes of their suffering, and to take active steps toward freedom. This perspective allows Buddhism to resonate with individuals from a wide range of spiritual and philosophical backgrounds, providing a path that is inclusive, practical, and transformative. The Buddha's teachings on speculative views. The Buddha's approach to metaphysical questions was marked by a profound practicality. He discouraged speculative views, particularly those that did not directly contribute to the path of liberation. A key example of this can be found in the parable of the poisoned arrow, a teaching that reveals the Buddha's pragmatic stance on such matters. In the story, a man is struck by a poisoned arrow. Instead of seeking immediate treatment, he insists on knowing who shot the arrow, the archer's cast, the material of the bow, and other irrelevant details. The Buddha likened this to individuals who become preoccupied with metaphysical questions while neglecting the urgent task of addressing their suffering. The lesson is clear. Philosophical speculation, such as debates about the existence of God, distracts from the practical work of inner transformation. The Buddha's reluctance to engage in theological debates is also evident in his silence on certain metaphysical questions. When asked whether the universe is eternal or finite, or whether the self exists after death, the Buddha famously declined to answer. His silence was not out of ignorance, but a deliberate choice to redirect focus to the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. This practical orientation underscores why the concept of God is largely absent in Buddhist discourse. Instead of contemplating the nature of a supreme being, the Buddha encouraged his followers to investigate their own experience of reality. He taught that suffering arises from craving and ignorance, and that liberation comes through ethical conduct, meditation, and wisdom. The Buddha's teachings on speculative views serve as a powerful reminder that the path to liberation lies in direct experience and disciplined practice. By letting go of unanswerable questions, practitioners can focus their energy on what truly matters, understanding the nature of suffering and cultivating the qualities needed to transcend it. This approach is deeply liberating. It frees individuals from the need to reconcile competing theological claims and allows them to concentrate on their own spiritual development. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that ultimate truth is not found in abstract concepts, but in the lived experience of insight and awakening. By prioritizing practical wisdom over metaphysical speculation, Buddhism offers a path that is both accessible and profound. It invites individuals to step beyond intellectual debates and to engage deeply with the realities of their own lives. In doing so, it provides a timeless framework for liberation that transcends cultural and religious boundaries. The role of devas and divine beings in Buddhism. In Buddhist cosmology, devas, celestial or divine beings, play an important yet distinctly secondary role in the spiritual landscape. Unlike the omnipotent God of many theistic religions, devas are neither creators of the universe nor arbiters of ultimate salvation. Instead, they occupy realms within the cycle of samsara, subject to impermanence, karma, and eventual rebirth. Their existence highlights the diversity and richness of Buddhist teachings while simultaneously affirming the tradition's focus on liberation rather than divine worship. Devas are often portrayed as beings of immense power, beauty, and lifespan, residing in realms of bliss far removed from the human world. For instance, the Pali Canon mentions various heavenly realms such as the Tavatimsa heaven, home to Sakka, the king of Devas. These celestial beings are believed to have accumulated great merit in past lives, which led to their current elevated state. However, despite their exalted status, they are not free from the fundamental truths of impermanence and suffering. The Buddha often used devas to illustrate the transient nature of existence, even in the highest realms. In one story, Saka approaches the Buddha to ask for guidance. Although he is a powerful celestial king, Saka acknowledges his limitations and seeks the Dharma to progress on the path. This interaction underscores the Buddhist view that even devas, despite their magnificence, are ultimately bound by samsara and must cultivate wisdom and ethical conduct to attain liberation. Unlike the omnipotent God concept, devas do not serve as ultimate authorities or objects of worship in Buddhism. Instead, they are seen as beings who, like humans, are subject to the laws of karma. Their roles are often supportive, as illustrated in the Mahayana Sutras, where celestial bodhisattvas and divine figures assist practitioners in their journey toward enlightenment. For example, Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of compassion, is venerated for his tireless efforts to alleviate suffering. Yet, even such exalted figures are not considered creators or ultimate saviors. Their significance lies in their embodiment of the qualities practitioners aspire to develop within themselves. The presence of devas in Buddhist teachings serves multiple purposes. First, it acknowledges the existence of higher forms of life, reflecting the vast and interconnected nature of samsara. Second, it demonstrates that spiritual progress transcends distinctions between human and divine, emphasizing that liberation is accessible to all beings who cultivate the path. Finally, it offers practical lessons in humility, showing that even celestial beings who seem to possess every advantage must still strive for liberation through the Dharma. Through stories and teachings, the Buddha clarified that while devas may offer inspiration and support, they are not essential to the attainment of enlightenment. In the Dhammapada, he states, "Not by going to the heavens, not by becoming a deva, can one escape suffering, but by purifying the mind." This teaching directs attention away from reliance on external beings and toward the cultivation of self-awareness and wisdom. In practical terms, the inclusion of devas in Buddhist teachings reflects a profound understanding of human psychology. By portraying these beings as powerful yet limited, Buddhism acknowledges the human tendency to seek inspiration from the extraordinary, while simultaneously reminding practitioners of their own potential for liberation. The true message lies in the universality of suffering and the shared path toward freedom, transcending the distinctions between human and divine. This nuanced approach allows Buddhism to engage with a wide spectrum of spiritual perspectives, from those who resonate with the imagery of devas to those who prefer a more secular interpretation of the path. By situating divine beings within the framework of impermanence and interdependence, Buddhism reaffirms its commitment to a pragmatic and inclusive vision of spiritual progress. Dependent origination and the absence of a creator deity. One of the most profound contributions of Buddhism to philosophical and spiritual thought is the principle of dependent origination, or pratitya samutpada. This foundational teaching not only explains the interconnected nature of existence, but also offers a compelling alternative to the idea of a creator deity. In essence, dependent origination demonstrates that all phenomena arise due to specific causes and conditions, rendering the notion of an independent, omnipotent creator unnecessary in Buddhist cosmology. The principle of dependent origination is elegantly simple, yet profoundly far-reaching. It states that all phenomena arise in dependence on other phenomena. When this exists, that arises. When this ceases, that ceases. This interdependent process is illustrated in the 12 links of dependent origination, which describe the cyclical nature of birth, suffering, death, and rebirth. Each link, from ignorance to craving to becoming, perpetuates the cycle of samsara. In this framework, there is no room for a singular, uncaused creator. Instead, the universe is seen as a dynamic web of causes and effects, continuously unfolding without beginning or end. This understanding shifts the focus from seeking external explanations to investigating the internal processes that sustain suffering and hinder liberation. The absence of a creator deity in Buddhism is not a denial of spirituality, but a reorientation toward personal responsibility and self-reliance. The Buddha emphasized that liberation arises not through divine intervention, but through understanding the causes of suffering and cultivating the Eightfold Path. He famously declared, "By oneself is one purified, by oneself is one defiled. No one can purify another." This teaching encapsulates the essence of the Buddhist path, a journey of self-discovery and transformation rooted in wisdom and ethical action. Dependent origination also aligns with the Buddhist emphasis on impermanence. In a universe governed by constant change, the idea of an eternal, unchanging creator becomes incompatible with the observable nature of reality. Instead, Buddhism encourages practitioners to embrace impermanence as a fundamental truth and to see it as a gateway to liberation. By understanding that all phenomena are contingent and temporary, individuals can let go of attachment and aversion, paving the way for insight and freedom. The practical implications of dependent origination are profound. It teaches that suffering is not the result of external punishment or divine will, but of ignorance and craving within the individual. This insight empowers practitioners to take control of their spiritual destiny, breaking free from the cycle of samsara through mindful awareness and intentional action. Moreover, the principle of dependent origination resonates with modern scientific and philosophical perspectives, making it highly relevant in contemporary discourse. Its emphasis on causality and interdependence parallels the findings of systems theory, ecology, and quantum physics, which similarly highlight the interconnectedness of all things. This alignment underscores the timeless and universal nature of the Buddha's teachings, offering a framework that transcends cultural and religious boundaries. By presenting a cosmology grounded in causality and interdependence, Buddhism challenges the need for a creator deity while offering a more empowering vision of spiritual progress. It shifts the narrative from one of submission to an external power to one of active engagement with the causes of suffering and the cultivation of wisdom and compassion. This understanding is not merely intellectual, but deeply experiential. The Buddha encouraged his followers to see things as they truly are, through direct observation and insight. Dependent origination is not a theory to be believed, but a reality to be experienced, revealing the profound interconnectedness of life and the potential for liberation inherent in every moment. Through the lens of dependent origination, Buddhism offers a transformative path that transcends the need for a creator deity. It invites practitioners to explore the interdependent nature of existence, to uncover the causes of their suffering, and to cultivate the wisdom and compassion necessary for liberation. This teaching, rooted in both simplicity and profundity, lies at the heart of the Buddhist vision of a world free from suffering and full of awakened possibility. Modern interpretations and reflections. In modern times, Buddhism continues to offer a compelling framework for understanding divinity, appealing to individuals from diverse philosophical and religious backgrounds. Its nuanced approach to the concept of God has inspired both theistic and non-theistic interpretations, allowing it to resonate with a broad spectrum of spiritual seekers. While traditional Buddhism neither denies nor affirms the existence of a supreme deity, its teachings encourage a focus on personal transformation and experiential understanding rather than dogmatic belief. Contemporary Buddhist teachers and scholars often address the concept of God by reframing it in ways that align with core Buddhist principles. For example, some interpret God not as a separate, external being, but as a metaphor for ultimate truth, compassion, or the interconnected nature of existence. In this view, God symbolizes the qualities one cultivates on the path to enlightenment, such as wisdom, loving-kindness, and equanimity. Such interpretations bridge the gap between Buddhist teachings and theistic perspectives, offering a way for individuals from different traditions to find common ground. At the same time, Buddhism's non-dogmatic nature makes it particularly appealing to atheists and agnostics. Its emphasis on self-reliance, ethical conduct, and mindfulness resonates with those who seek a spiritual path without the need for a deity. By focusing on observable realities such as suffering, impermanence, and interdependence, Buddhism provides a framework for personal growth that does not require belief in metaphysical constructs. This inclusivity is exemplified in the writings of modern Buddhist figures such as Thich Nhat Hanh and the Dalai Lama. Both have emphasized the practical and universal aspects of the Dharma, encouraging individuals to explore Buddhist teachings regardless of their religious affiliations. Thich Nhat Hanh, for instance, described nirvana as the ground of being, a state of ultimate freedom and understanding rather than a supernatural realm. The Dalai Lama has similarly spoken of the complementarity between Buddhism and science, highlighting the ways in which Buddhist insights into the mind and reality align with contemporary scientific discoveries. In addition to offering alternative interpretations of divinity, Buddhism provides a path that transcends the need for theological debates. It redirects attention from speculative questions about God to the lived experience of suffering and liberation. As the Buddha stated, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." This teaching reflects the Buddhist emphasis on mindfulness and direct experience as the foundations of spiritual practice. Modern reflections on Buddhism also highlight its adaptability in addressing contemporary challenges. In a world increasingly divided by religious dogma, Buddhism's focus on compassion, understanding, and ethical living offers a unifying vision of spirituality. Its teachings encourage individuals to look beyond labels and identities, fostering a sense of interconnectedness that transcends cultural and religious boundaries. Furthermore, the Buddhist path emphasizes the cultivation of inner qualities that are universally valued, such as kindness, patience, and humility. These qualities are not dependent on belief in a deity, but arise naturally through mindfulness, meditation, and ethical conduct. This practical and experiential approach makes Buddhism accessible to individuals from all walks of life, offering a way to deepen their understanding of themselves and the world around them. By neither affirming nor denying God, Buddhism provides a unique perspective that invites inquiry and reflection. It challenges individuals to look beyond external sources of authority and to discover the truth within themselves. This focus on personal transformation and liberation is at the heart of the Buddhist vision, offering a timeless path to freedom that transcends the limitations of theological debate.